Hi there, this is Caitlin from Haley Public Library, and today we're working on Take and Make Summer Projects Embroidery Hoop Art. Before we get started, let's take a look at what's in our kit. In your kit will be one 6-inch embroidery hoop, one 9-inch square of cloth, one paper pattern, yellow, gray, green, and blue embroidery thread, along with an embroidery needle and a needle threader. You will also need a good pair of scissors and a pencil. To get started with our project, you're going to take your paper pattern and your cloth and your pencil, and you're just going to trace right over the paper pattern so that the pattern is on our cloth. This doesn't have to be perfect, but this is going to be our guide to make sure that we have the right pattern. Next, we are going to be attaching the cloth and putting it into the embroidery hoop. You're going to unscrew the top of the embroidery hoop to loosen the outside hoop. Pop out the middle there. And then you're going to set the cloth on top of the middle hoop and rejoin the hoops together, making it nice and tight. When you have the cloth in a place that you like, go ahead and tighten the top screw again and give the fabric a nice tug to make sure it's tight across the hoop. Next, we're going to take on the task of threading our needle. The way that I do it is by separating out 2 strands from the thread. This makes our stitches a little thinner and a little less clunky to work with, but getting the threads out is a little bit of a challenge. The easiest way I find is to individually make sure you can see all of the threads and then only pull out one thread at a time. It might get bunched up, but you can straighten it back out again and grab your second string. Next, we're going to thread our needle. Take the threader and place it through the eye of the needle, then put in your string. And this next part is important. Try to pull from the actual threader and not the silver round piece on the end, because our threaders are pretty delicate and it can break pretty easily. So pull from the threader, not from the end there. And then if your threader does break, you can always lick the ends of your thread and push them through the needle like normal, but I found this way is a little bit easier. So now you can see that our thread is folded in half on our needle, and you can leave it loose, but I find for beginners, as a nice security measure, you can make a double knot on the end of your string, and it prevents it from bringing your thread all the way through your project. You don't have to do this, but I have found that it makes it a little bit easier. I like a little bit of insurance. So to start our project today, we're going to start with 2 strings of the yellow thread, and we're going to start with the sun. For the majority of this project, we're going to be using a running stitch. So you just start from the bottom, poke your way up, and follow the lines of your pattern. Down again, and you'll leave a small space between your stitches. And this is your classic running stitch. I'll show you a couple of times in regular motion, and then we'll skip ahead so you can see the pattern that I follow. I found it's the easiest to try to take the shortest route between sunbeams. Sometimes I'll go all the way down the sunbeam and skip across to the next ray, and sometimes I'll follow the bottom. You'll see here. Next, I'm going to show you how to secure the end of your stitch. This is the easiest way by taking your needle with your thread still on it and placing it through the back of your stitches. This secures it on the end. Take your scissors and give it a snip, but don't snip it too close to the stitch in case it unravels. Next, you can see that we've already threaded our blue thread and we are working on our river, again using that running stitch. Be sure to secure your stitch on the other side. Next, we already have our gray thread on our needle, and we're going to be starting with the mountains. The easiest way I've found is to go up and on top of the mountains, and then come back with the same thread for the bottom of the mountains. The great thing about this project is it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't really have to follow my exact stitches. You can go across, rethread your needle, and do the bottom if that's easier for you. Jump around, do it in any order you want. All you have to do is follow the pattern. As I'm finishing up the bottom of the mountains, I'll give you one more reminder. Don't forget to secure your stitch on the back of your project. Next, we are going to be doing a little bit different of a stitch for the trees with green thread. This is called the fern stitch. You start at the beginning of one of your arrows and come down to the next top of the arrow. Come to the outside branch of your tree, and you're going to poke it right back through the hole you just made at the top of your tree here. Same thing on the other side. Poke it through your branch and right back through the same hole you started in. Again, we're going to go down one more level that looks like an arrow. Start at the bottom. You're going to be pushing your thread right back through the hole of the last part of the tree. Follow the same pattern. Right side of the branch, through the same hole, and left side of the branch. For this one, I've found you can do probably 2 trees on each side before running out of thread. So I do them all together and then I'll rethread and start again. All of your stitching is complete. It's time to finish your project. Take your scissors and cut really close to your hoop all the way around. Next, we're going to stitch a running stitch all the way around your project. You'll notice I'm using the gray thread here because it's the longest of all of them, and you want to make sure you have enough thread to reach all the way around the hoop. We're just going to do a running stitch, and basically what happens is when you pull it tight, then it makes it close in around the circle and it hides the fabric from the rest of your project. As you can see here, I am making stitches pretty close to the edge of the fabric so that we can pull it as tight as we can. And when you're finished, you're just going to make a double knot at the top, and we're all set to go. Here's your final project. You can hang it right from the hoop, or you can take off the fabric and use it any way you like. Thank you so much for joining us for Take and Make Embroidery Hoop Art. We so appreciate you spending the summer with us, making and learning. Be sure to tag us on social media with the hashtag #HPLTakeandMake. And if you're interested in another summer of making, let us know. Shoot us an email, tell us on social media, or come into the library. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.